Hey guys, it is June 28th, 2023, and today Chicago was labeled as the world's worst air quality in the world. I live very close to Chicago, only a couple hours away, and I'm literally in the exact same bad air bubble that Chicago is in. So I have been feeling it in my lungs and my throat, so I'm going to try to keep this video very short, but hopefully informative enough that it gives you some educational benefit, and you can throw me a like, or even better yet, a subscribe as a thank you. So I want to talk about the importance of cardiorespiratory exercise because, as I said a few videos ago, it is the single best type of exercise you can do for your health. And on a day like today, where our lungs, our oxygen levels are all compromised due to the particulate matter in the air, it's a good thing to start thinking about your health. And if you've been exercising and taking care of your health for a few months, you probably realize, wow, that's really glad I've been doing that for the last few months, because even healthy people are at risk of having severe symptoms on a day like today if they're outside. So the reason cardiovascular or cardiorespiratory exercise are so much better for your health than the other three types of fitness, which are resistance training, flexibility, and neuromotor movements. I'll kind of talk about those last three, and you'll really start to see just why cardiovascular does so much more for your health than anything else. So health is basically, it deals with a lot of things, but largely, historically, it's been referred to as a term as to whether or not your body has a disease or injury. So this is largely going to focus on the disease aspect. Your body's ability to prevent disease or to fight a disease, like if you get a viral infection, a bacterial infection, largely has to do with the health of the cells. Do they all have the energy that they need? Are they getting the oxygen that they need? Are they getting the waste products that each cell develops out and flushed out of the body? All of that centers around circulation. So as you can imagine, the better your body is circulating blood, the more efficiently it's circulating, the more efficiently it's transferring oxygen and carbon dioxide in and out of the body, the more efficiently it's transferring waste out, and the food and things we need in, vitamins, minerals, all that stuff. It all boils down to circulation and the efficiency of that. So it shouldn't be too hard to imagine why cardiovascular / cardiorespiratory exercise is so good for your health, because we are literally working on our body's ability to circulate more and more and more efficiently. That's what really leads to our ability to use less oxygen, transfer oxygen more efficiently, absorb it more efficiently, yada, yada, yada. We can basically sustain our activity longer and longer and longer because our body is more efficient at delivering what the body needs and getting rid of what the body produces in terms of waste from those reactions using what our body needs for fuel. So everything really boils down to circulation. And resistance training, neuromotor, flexibility, none of those really help circulation. Resistance training, to an extent, can absolutely help, but resistance training's primary benefit is going to be the health of your joints, so the ability for a joint to move, to sustain your body in different positions, to move in certain fashions. Like, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like walking on a mountainside. I was at a hike a couple days ago. There were lots of bumps, lots of rocks, and so you can imagine your ankle's ability to twist and turn and absorb all these different angles that the body's walking on, and those get transferred up to the knee and up to the hip. And so your joint's ability to react to all those different forces while still contracting the muscles enough to sustain your whole skeleton as it moves. That's where the benefit of resistance training really comes from. Joint integrity, muscular conditioning, so the ability to continue providing you that movement, the stability for the duration of your activity. And obviously this transfers to a higher and higher level as we need our body to do more and more. We want it to be more athletic. The demands of training and the demands that our body needs to uphold to obviously go up higher and higher. But when you boil it down to what are the benefits of resistance training for your health, it doesn't really transfer well to circulation, and making sure the body is, again, absorbing the fuel that we need, delivering it where it needs to go, and then exporting all the waste products. Flexibility, you can probably imagine what is that going to do for circulation. Again, you could say it definitely helps, because the more you work on your flexibility and your joints get more mobile, technically you'll be able to circulate more blood flow into certain tissues as you get into more and more range of motion, doing different things. But again, we're really just focusing on the ability for a joint to freely move through the range of motion that it is designed to move through. So not a big benefit towards circulation. And neuromotor, for those who don't know, it's basically a catch-all term for balance, agility, anything that has to do with your body's ability to, at a moment's notice, change direction, balance on, a different, balance on a different foundation. So whether that's 1 foot, 2 foot, the surface that you're on is flat or it's curved, it's angled this way, angled that way. You get the idea. Like your body's ability to understand what surface it is on, how the body is oriented on that surface, and the ability to coordinate all of the muscles to move the joints and therefore move the skeleton into the positions they need to be to make sure you don't fall over, and also can move as you need to across that surface, through that direction, whatever it may be. Basically balance, agility. There's a couple other terms that I'm trying to remember. Kinesis is one, and then proprioception is another. Kinesthesis? Yeah. Look this up real fast. Kinesthesia, that's what it is. Yeah. So kinesthesia, that is where our brain is aware of the position our body is in. Like sometimes you might think your shoulders are level, but when you actually look in the mirror, all of a sudden you realize, oh crap, one's actually higher than the other. So kinesthesia refers to your ability to know where all of the parts of your body are and how they're oriented with each other. Proprioception has to deal with similar, but it's more the external input that your body has. So understanding what is around your body and how that surface or that object that is moving will interact with your body as you catch it, or as you touch it, or as you move around it, whatever that is. It has more to do with your body's understanding of what is around it, whereas kinesthesia is understanding your body itself. Anybody who watches this who understands both of those terms a little bit better than I do might dispute what I'm saying. It might not be the best way of describing it, but it's good enough for most of you. So anyway, all that is to say that neuromotor really isn't going to do much for your health. While again, it is good to prevent yourself from falling, and it's good to make sure that your body understands where it is in space and how to accurately move through space and how to accurately move objects around you, how to safely and accurately interact with objects around you. None of that really transfers to making your heart stronger or delivering the liver, more blood flow and making sure fluid is moving in and out of the kidneys as it's supposed to. All of that boils down to cardiorespiratory exercise. So taking care of our cardiovascular system and our pulmonary system, our respiratory system. For the people who are older, that should click pretty well for you and letting you know what you should prioritize. If you're a little bit older, you're a little out of shape, and you need to prioritize your health over anything else, start with cardiorespiratory. Like, get your body, the insides of your body, as healthy as possible. Your heart, your lung, your arteries, your veins, even your organs, all of that is going to be benefited by cardiorespiratory exercise, endurance exercise. For the younger people, don't forget this whole video, because you will deal with this one day and you're going to need to remember, what should I start when I need to start exercising because I haven't been, and my doctor says, hey, it's time to get your butt in gear because these test results aren't looking that good. Remember, endurance first. Priority number 1, cardiovascular exercise. For those of you who want to get some guidance on how to start doing some endurance exercise, if you feel really out of shape and very vulnerable to injury, low impact is going to be your best bet. So low impact is basically anything that you are in constant contact with the ground. And obviously that doesn't have to be in the ground necessarily. If you're on a bike, your feet are always on the pedals. That is your ground in that case. So because your body is in constant contact with the machine that you're on, it's very low impact and it should be very easy on your joints. That means the elliptical, the rowing machine, those are going to be really good machines to start on, to just start going, turn the resistance or pedal at the right pace for you, that you can sustain it for hopefully at least 10 minutes. So you start getting a light sweat, getting your breathing elevated. If you have been diagnosed with a heart condition of some sort, there's a good chance that you need to make sure you don't go past what we call the talk test, meaning don't go above an intensity that you can no longer talk while you're exercising. You want to be able to at least try to keep a conversation going. Obviously, your breathing is elevated. Your sentences are going to get broken up a little bit more than they would be if you were just sitting or walking at a non-brisk pace. But the talk test is a good way to make sure that we're low enough in intensity that we're not at risk of potentially having a cardio event. So low impact and talk test are two things to keep in mind if you're vulnerable to an injury or potentially other catastrophic event. For those who are maybe younger, maybe healthier, and you want to know what the best thing that you can do to start endurance training for paintball, I would recommend starting with some sprints, and maybe not necessarily jumping right into 100% intensity, but you get the idea of like running as fast as you can for 10, 15, 30 seconds at most, resting and doing it again. So basically high intensity circuit training. The most beneficial thing you can do for your body to get the maximum amount of results fast is doing high intensity exercise. If you're doing high intensity exercise, you can literally cut your exercise time in half each week. Now, older, vulnerable people, don't go and start doing that. Your body's not ready for it. You're going to set yourself up for injury and set yourself back many weeks, if not months, possibly even years. So be careful. I'm just saying, for people who are healthy enough and capable enough to handle high intensity interval training, that is the best bang for your buck as far as time goes. Training at a high intensity, resting only as much as needed to continue going, but basically trying to do interval style, CrossFit style, high intensity training. It does suck. It is hard. And that's why when you look at CrossFit athletes on the CrossFit Games, you're like, holy crap, all these people are freaking jacked. That's because that's what that type of training does for you. Is like a big stress stimulus to the body, triggers a lot of adaptation. It is high risk. So people who go too hard too soon are going to be prone to injury. But if you are careful with it, ease into it, and then carefully progress yourself through it, in just a matter of months, you would be surprised at just how much stronger your entire body is. So again, please take care of your cardiovascular and cardiorespiratory health. Do endurance training on a weekly basis. Thank you as always for all the support and engagement. I will get to the questions that you've been putting in the comments. If you have a question that you'd like me to answer in one of these next 20 videos, this is number 10, so I'm 1/3 of the way through this 30 video and 30 day challenge. If you want me to make a video about your question, put it in the comments. As always, I hope all of this information helps you play better paintball.